Hello, it's time to English New Edition. It's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time for English New Edition, and welcome to our newsroom. For tonight's headlines, we have organizations of the first public meetings of the second ordinary session of the year 2019. For the international scene, Italy will renegotiate with Libya to curb migration flows. Welcome to our newsroom. Under the leadership of the President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Humed, the National Assembly held these first public sessions of the year of the second ordinary sessions of the year 2019 on Monday, November 4. This plenary session is in the mysteries of the hemicycles of Parliament was attended by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the ministers and all parliamentarians with following agenda: the draft law on the ratifications of the financing agreement for the integrated cash transfer and human capital building project, ratifying a funding agreement, grant and loan for the project to improve the performance of the health sector, draft Financing Act, amending the state budget for the 2019 financial years, draft law ratifying the conventions for the settlement of investment dispute between states and nationals of other states, draft law on the ratifications of the loan agreement for the Center of Excellences for Higher Education for Development Impact Project. On this subject, the audience engaged in a significant debate illustrated by the various interventions of the elected representative of the people toward the executive and the insights provided by the ministers of the Republic in response. As for the team review, the most important were investments in priority sectors such as health, education, the mobilizations of international funds, and the non-increase in debt orientations toward national development policies, accelerate growth strategy, or even on the general characteristic of budget preparations, and in particular for the government's desires for constant control of public finances. In short, the questions of the ways and means by the executive, the ministers concerns the debt relief has been raised several times, mainly in terms of the performance for grants and the careful monitoring of projects financed by international borrowing. The Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed has received this morning on a courtesy visit the Egyptian ambassador accredited to Djibouti, Mr. Mustafa Orfi. The interview took place at the Prime Minister's VIP lounge. In the discussions and exchanges, the two men mentioned in particular the fruitful bilateral cooperation and the long-standing friendship between the two brotherly countries. It should be recalled that the Egyptian diplomat, who had previously served as the embassies of the Arab Republic of Egypt in Pakistan, United Kingdoms, and Russian Federations, has been imposed since November 2019. Following the demonstration that took place in Arhiba district last weekend, the Minister of Interior, Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, held a consultation meetings with the notable elders and district chief of Arhiba this morning at the meeting room of the prefectures, the city of Djibouti. In total, about 10 of the elders and of Arhiba district participate in the meeting, which aim to find a solution to the problems together. Present at this meeting was the Deputy Mayor Utban Hamad Mohammed, the Prefect of the City of Djibouti, Usman Bile, the Chief of the District of Arhiba Ali Shahem, the sub-prefect of the second district, Mustafa Usman Roble. The elders and Arhiba district welcomed the meeting chaired by the ministers and said they were ready to find solutions together to meet the challenges, and promised that each of them would want the stability of Arhiba district on his side. The ministers of the interior, Momin Ahmed Sheikh, thanked the elder and local elders for participating in this meeting. The meeting ended with a good agreement after a long debate. The Minister of Labour is in charge of reform of administration, Isman Ibrahim Roble, chaired this morning's installation session of the National Health Insurance Commission, the SNAM, as the regulatory bodies for health insurance. The SNAM has been reviewed with regard to its organization and functioning following decrees by a decree promulgated on 19 September 2019. The members of the commission are appointed by decree under the proposals of the Minister of Labour in charge of administration reform for a period of 3 years. It is chaired by the representative of the presidency and the Secretary General of the presidency, Mohammed Abdullahi Wa'ais. The member of this commission is of Secretary General of the Primature, Mr. Naguib Abdallah Kamil. The Minister of Health, which is represented by its Secretary General of the Minister, Dr. Saleh Benoita Turab. The Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity. The Minister of Budget represents the Public Authority. The managing body is represented by the General Directorate, Mr. Dekha Ahmed Roble, and the Head of Department of Health Insurances is also represented in this commission. The partner and employers, the insured, the trade unions, and the controllers. The Director General of the CNSS, Ms. Dekha Ahmed Roble, spoke at the end of the meeting. She indicated that the creation of this commission is a political will at the highest level of state, and follows a decree on the organization and functioning of National Health Insurance Commission. The general managers of CNSS indicate that the overriding objective is to arrange medical coverage for all. She also indicated that the second objective was to guarantee quality care services. On this point, the general managers of the CNSS, Ms. Dekha Ahmed Roble, that the reimbursement of the medical expenses of the insured should be reinvested to improve the technical platform to the hospitals for the to be able to treat pathologies which requires today medical evacuations. The general managers of the CNSS concluded for the partners on the good collaboration. The member of this commission, on which is based the sustainability of the health insurance, this social assessor. During this meeting, the Minister of Labour, Isman Ibrahim Roble, recalled that the AMU is one of the major solidarity projects initiated by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh. He also urged them to work in a transparent and national manner in the choice of conventions. In his speech, he recalled the role of the missions of SNAM and suggested that you listen to him. The Director General of the National Agency for Disabled Persons, Douale Saeed Mahamoud, received yesterday afternoon in the meeting rooms of the NPH the courtesy visit of the Kuwait delegation led by the Ministers of Women and Family, Ms. Momina Ahmed Hassan. The meeting was attended by the head of the organizations of the Kuwaiti Department of Social Affairs, the Vice President of the NGO Al-Rahma International, Mr. Fahad Mohammed, and his team, the Chief of Staff of the Director General of the NPH, Mr. Farah Douale Ladiye, the Arab-speaking technical advisors of the Director General of the NPH, Jim Ali Hussein Ibrahim, and his Arab-speaking social workers of the NPH, Ms. Muna Abdi Musa. A training workshop focused on business structures management opened this morning at the Djibouti Leadership and Entrepreneurship Center. commonly known as Anglais, organized by the Ministry of Communication on the ceremony of launching the 3-day seminars was chaired this morning by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Information Communication in the presence of the Director in charge of ICT during 3 days of incubators resulting from the key of many companies, the places and the startup factories in private agency in charges of the supervision of entrepreneurs will benefit from the know-how of Mr. Dr. Rechisa, a Tunisian international expert from the World Bank. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Communication, Mr. Yusuf Ahmed, in a speech explained that during the capacity building workshop, participants will probably have learned a lot about the management of small and medium-sized enterprises in order to carry out their incubators tasks. For the second day in now, the delegations of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Labor State Kuwaiti continued its official visit to Djibouti. The Kuwaiti delegation, which arrived in the countries in the invitations of the Ministry of Women and Family, includes Huda Rashid, Director of Department of Charities at the Ministry, the Deputy Secretary General of the NGOs, Al-Rahma, Mr. Fahad Al-Sharhi. Delegation is led by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Abdul Aziz Shuaib, visit Al-Rahma Al-Balbala complex these mornings, where he held brief meetings with the heads of the institution, including the regional direction, Long Rahma, Mr. Abdul. The director of the education is Abdullah Fatouh. The delegation was accompanied by the technical advisors to the Minister of Women and Family, Mr. Hassan Ali Robahe. In an interview with the national television following the visit of the Secretary General of the Ministry of Social Affairs, Labor, and the State of Kuwait, Mr. Abdul Aziz Shuaib thanked and congratulated the Djibouti authorities for the warm welcome extended to the delegation. He pointed out that this visit to the Al-Rahma complex allowed the Kuwaiti delegations to get a close look at the education and health services provided to Djibouti's citizens, while commending the performance of the cardiology and neurosurgery centers inaugurated by the President Ismail Omar Guelleh on 24 June last. The Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, led a review meetings on transport and logistic trainings on post-USAID-funded MENFOP project. The Secretary General, the Director General of the senior officials of the, as well as the expert trainers a company specializing in transport and logistic training took part in this meeting. The disciplinary inspectors in the tertiary sector, Mr. Ahmed, reviewed the 4 training courses provided to teachers in the transport and logistic sectors. He explained that 3 training sessions were held at the different sites. The customs rule first launched at Balbala Sectoral Center, the operations of handling equipment at Leak, and finally the driving of heavy good vehicles, which took place.
Of ATRAC, which is organization that teach many teachers from around the world how to drive the logistics transportation cars. For me, it was amazing experience. I was so excited because I learned many things, because here the women can drive only the smart cars. I was so excited because I'm saying to myself that I will learn how to drive the engine cars that have many rules.
The Djibouti National Institute of Public Health has been carried out space spraying activity against mosquitoes and flies in the capital's district, particularly in Nassif City. for the past week. These preventive activities were carried out as part of the vectoral control strategy against malaria and infectious disease vector. The inhabitants of the Nasib city have participated massively in spreading activities to destroy larval habitat in household septic tanks. The director of the Mr. Nuh Saeed Wa'ais has congratulated the organizers of the Clearing and Cleanliness Day, which contribute to promoting a healthy and friendly environment. As part of the project strengthening national capacity for better decision-making and integrations of global environmental obligation, a consultation workshop for the development on an environmental roadmap for the Atta region was held on Sunday, 3 November at Sunny Hill Center. This workshop brought together a diversified panel of participants, including notable sub-prefect of the deputy prefect, the president of the regional council, the vice president, representative of decentralized services, as well as several associations in the region assembly, which came from different villages in the region, had to testify the environmental issue and the the faces on the following the experts' presentations on the three themes of the flow conventions, namely climate change, biodiversity, and desertification. Discussion and group work were launched to enable people to exchange views on the environmental reality of their region. At the end of these exchanges, identify environmental priorities and challenges of the region in order to develop a roadmap specific to the region. For the international scene, the theme of immigration is making the headlines against in Italy following recent rescues as well as the controversies it raises. Last week, the humanitarian ship Ocean Viking landed in Sicily. Most of the 250 people it had rescued in the Mediterranean Sea. They will also be supported by France and Germany. Similar situations this weekend for another humanitarian trip to Alan Kurdi. The Italian Ministry of Interior authorized her the more in the port of Taranto, and after about 10 days at sea, from migrants rescues and the boards this was from the German NGOs Sea Watch Germany and France will welcome 16 migrants. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.